So today's project is we are going to work on installing the ZOSI home security system, camera system, that I've recently picked up on Amazon, and I've got it all here ready to unbox. I'm going to go through and give you my impressions of it as I do the work. This is a relatively low-cost camera system, which is what appealed to it for me. And we've got 8 cameras that came with it, the DVR system, and this is a box of cables. So we're going to open it up, I'm going to go through it. I actually do have a fair amount of experience with security camera systems. I am an IT director for a school district, so I'm always dealing with the security cameras there. We've got about 100 different ones that we're working with. So I can give you some pretty good impressions of what they did right, what they did wrong, and where they really went cheap on this, which I'm sure there's going to be a fair amount of that for the price. But hopefully it will suffice for what I want to do here. As I may have mentioned in a previous video, I discovered while I was working on the house here that the previous owner did have security cameras, and they're mounted on a couple of different corners of the house. There's one out front and there's one out in the back of the house here. And when they left, they cut the cameras off and took them with them. So the good news is that they left the Ethernet running out there, and I just need to rewire the Ethernet in to it. So here's the box of cables, and what you'll see here is that these cables come wired up. These are, I think, about 50-foot cables. These are 100-foot cables. None of these are rated for external, so they're not really weatherproof, although they're trying to say they are. Very, very cheap cables, and it looks like they're only 4-wire to boot rather than 8-wire, so that's extremely disappointing, but it's okay because I'm probably not going to use much of these cables. And then, yeah, very cheap, very poor water connections. What these are weather-tight connections that are on these. So as you screw these down into place, I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but that plastic center there will start squishing down on that wire and give it a weather-tight seal. Another unfortunate thing here on these, to get the lighting just right, is they're not a single piece. There's a split there. So no matter how much you tighten it, you're still going to have that split. And I'll interlace a video here of one of the ones that I have at work so you can see what a real one should look like. So really cheaped out on this piece of it. Here is one of the dome cameras. I have the weather seal piece here as well. So this will plug into this like that, and then this will get tightened down. So what I'll most likely do is, and this part of the cable isn't too bad, what I'll most likely do is use my own cables. Either cut the ends off of these so I can use these weather seals, or possibly pick up some better weather seals. Because that piece looks like it's pretty standard there. As far as the weather seal goes, you got a nice rubber grommet, and you just need the piece that screws down over that. Here is external rated Ethernet, and you can tell a big difference between the two. I'll put these next to each other so you can see just how much difference there is between the cheap wiring that came with it and regular or external rated Ethernet. And I will be having these cameras outside, so I want these rated for outdoor. So I wouldn't recommend using these, but you probably can if that's what you want to work with. I might use one of these or 2 of these inside, because there's a couple places inside and I'm thinking about putting a camera just for security purposes. Possibly one down here in this area, just kind of facing the bar area. So there is cables, nothing real impressive there. So we've got the dome cameras here. These are the bullet cameras. This is what I'll most likely be using outside. These will screw onto the outside of the house. It's got the plate where it can screw to the side of the wall, and it has a nice little pass-through hole so you can screw it on it right flush and then spin it as needed. Loosen this screw up and then it'll pivot down to where it needs to go. Now these guys, a little more difficult to mount, but they'll also go inside or outside, and there is a flat spot there that's not as good for running the wire through, but it'll work. Now these, you have to turn this collar in, which took me a second or two to figure out. Once that collar turns in, and then it'll slide off like so, and you can get to underneath it. Now the screw holes, if you'll notice, are behind that, so you actually, to mount it, have to pry that back, and then you can lift that off to mount that on the wall. So screw it on and then lower the camera down into it. Snap it in place, and then you can pivot it around. That pivots too. Once you get it where you want it, that pops back down in, and then that slides back on again, drops in place, and then twists the latch. Like so. There is a lock. I'm not going to push it because it was kind of hard to get it in or out of the locking mechanism really, but it latches in right there. So those are the two different cameras we have to work with. Now this is the DVR unit. Looks like all the mounting hardware. Some nice templates to work with. So you can stick these on the wall and use that as your drill holes, and then put the cameras over top of it. Some security system stickers. Instructions to use. And then various power cables and mounting screws. Comes with a mouse. And then this is the actual DVR itself. Light for power and LAN. And then we have 8 different PoE ports. The VGA port is crooked on it. Definitely some poor polishing going on here. Frame's dented up a little bit. Probably that way from the factory. I'm guessing that that VGA port is not part of the motherboard, but just wired up separately with a cable, and that's why it's crooked. Alright, so we've got some work cut out for us tomorrow. I'll probably do this during the day when it's a little warmer outside. Get those mounted on the side of the house. I have the 4 original ones that were done by the previous owner, and I've got room to do a few more different locations. I think I'm going to do one at the back door here, just so I've got a better view of the back lawn. I believe we're good over on the other side of the house, but we've got the extra cameras to do that and the extra ports on this. Probably install 5, maybe 6 cameras and keep a couple for spares. Okay, we are ready for the initial setup, and I've got the power hooked up. I've got HDMI cable connected. Our TV is set and ready to go. We'll run it off of that for the time being. There's the power on. Let's see what happens. Screen is connecting up now. Try and position this so that there's no glare. Alright, so one thing I didn't do is plug in an Ethernet cable, so we can connect that up. English. I want month, day, year. Do 12-hour. Alright, we are GMT -4, and the date today is, that's correct. Time is a little off. That's interesting. Looks okay. And we have no cameras connected currently, so let's connect up a camera and see what happens. I've got one of the domes here. These are PoE cameras, so it may take a moment to boot. Yep, there we go. Guess there's not a whole lot we can do here other than just view. So let's install the app. There's probably a web interface as well. While I'm waiting for that to install, we'll connect up another camera. And as mentioned before, they're PoE cameras, so it'll take them a moment to boot. There we go. Not super impressed with the quality of the image. This is the interface for the phone, and I've got this loaded up on my phone. I'm going to blur out the email address here. But you'll enter in your email address and then the code that comes from the device and register your account. Once registration is complete, you can log in with that email address and password that you set up. And once all that's done, then you'll come up and you'll have your device available to add to the software. All right, so we've got the device scanned and ready to import in. It's recognized the DVR, and I'm going to tell this is at my home. Next. It's found the device, it's added it, refreshing data, and as of yet hasn't pulled any cameras in. There we go. Channel 1 was one of the ones that were showing up, so was channel 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The zoom isn't too bad. Test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. With the software, you're able to take screenshots of what's going on with the camera or record live video from the feed. I would like to say the interface is not this fast. I'm fast forwarding through a lot of this just because of nothing going on. Not sure what's going on at this point. It seems to be locked up. And I broke it already. Alright, closed and reopened. I'm going to go over and trip the motion sensors on both the cameras and we'll see what happens. So far, nothing. So I'm back to this error again, whatever it is. It seems to be just simply locked up again. At this point, it won't let me do anything other than be stuck in this menu. Oh, I can move across the groups. Alright, so we're back to the main screen. Motion detection. Still no motion detection. No help there, no help there. And oddly, I've got multiple channels showing the same content from camera 6. Not sure what's happening with that. And that is in Chinese. That's not helpful at all. Although it's kind of obvious which ones record or which ones delete. Language is set to English, so it's just a problem with the app itself. So far, I'm not impressed with the app whatsoever. And the random camera duplication is occurring in multiple places now. It seems to be happening all over. Oh, we got some detection alerts now. So let's see what we've got here. Detected image changed, but nothing shows up. Did not record anything. Oh, there we go. Shows playback video. So we've got recording. So you need to click on the little time thing there and then play. That's channel 5. Still not happy at all with this app. Let me go do some more motion and see what happens. Alright, so we've got 2 new detection alerts. And we gotta click on the little time thing there. And then play. Alright, this is actually showing the video that's been recording all along. Okay, so if we click on the slider bar on the side here, we can expand the time window, zoom in if you will. And then that is the motion recording that I detected. So it's showing me the live feed of the constant feed from the cameras, and then I have to go in and look and see where the motion happened. So it's coming up on the motion detection now. It's going the wrong way. I go the other way. Newest is on top rather than the other way around. So here we go. This would be the motion event. And as with most cameras, you have a recorded bit ahead of it and behind it, or in this case a flagged bit since it's always recording. And we're getting to the green section there, which designates when the motion starts. Not seeing any motion. Alright, this is the most recent one. Let's try that. There we go. There's the most recent one I did. Motion in the camera, and it'll record for some time after. Let's check the other camera. So that was channel 6. Let's go to channel 1 and then go to the time window. And it's loading up the time window now. And there is my initial motion. This is when I first started setting it up. There we go. We'll expand the window a little bit and then we'll come here. So that is when I walked over and moved the camera. So we should see movement here. Emphasis on should. I know I moved the camera. All right, so I'm going to go over and move that camera again and see if we can trip it. Okay, so we'll refresh it. Now we have more alerts for camera 1. And we are looking for the most recent one. So it would be this one here. 9:31. Go to my timeline. There we go. Channel 1. That goes by date. I want to expand this up. And we'll come back here to the start of that time motion detection and see what we get. There's the initial motion, which you can see by the green on the screen. Camera's moving around and repositioned. And it'll record for some time after. And actually positioned in such a way that I'm still showing in the camera over at my desk. So the motion detection is working. Got that piece of it working. I can look at different dates. Now I just need to decide if I want to keep it or not. So far the app is very disappointing, but it does seem to be giving me motion. I'm going to have to let it run and get some tracking on it and make sure that it does alert me when there's motion when I'm remote. We have a camera, we have a Eufy camera actually at one of our other properties, and that is recording, so I'm not sure what it's going to look like when there's an event, as you will. So we'll try that and see what happens. Right now I just have the 2 cameras plugged into it. The app is quite crude, not real impressed with that. It's not real intuitive. I was able to get through it, but then again, I've dealt with a lot of different apps like this and a lot of different camera systems, so I probably have an advantage over the regular, normal user. But we'll give it some time, we'll play with it, and we'll see what happens. So update, the motion detection is working. It is showing up on my phone. However, the audio is not working at all on either of the cameras. I have tried to record audio, I've tried to talk through the camera. When you want to talk through the camera, you actually have to tap on the microphone and then press and hold to get your microphone to work, and that just isn't working at all. I think I heard a noise come out of it, a blip once, but that was it. Test. Got a little bit coming out of the TV, which doesn't help because you want it coming out of the camera so you can actually hear what's going on, and the sound coming out of the TV is extremely poor. So definitely going to send this one back, I think. Not impressed with anything I've seen, whether it be the app, whether it be the camera quality. Definitely not impressed with the cables, and the audio is not working. So we'll try a different model and see if we can get it all to fit back in the boxes. All right, so a few more tips. If you right click, you can get single camera view, multi-camera view, mess with colors, and go back to the main menu. Let's guess admin. Gonna have to look at the manual. Getting all sorts of motion detection now. Oh, there was no password. Should have guessed that the first time. Alright, so let's make sure there isn't an upgrade that might fix these issues. Nope. Setup, and I want advanced, and I want to reset everything because I don't want my information on here. Alright, that is resetting, and it's back to factory default. So we are ready to send this back, and that is my review on the ZOSI.